Let's talk about the Nobara situation. And I don't usually give spoiler warnings for the anime, but if you're not caught up with season 2, keep scrolling. So after what Mahito did to her in Shibuya, is she gone? Could she come back? Well, the truth of the matter is we still don't know. It's been over 100 chapters since this moment, and there's been barely a mention of her name even. So this is still just in complete limbo, which that in and of itself is kind of promising, right? Because there's been no explicit mention that she's completely gone. But let's kind of just go over what we do know about this situation, and we can go from there. So first of all, just to cover exactly where we left things in the story, Nita comes down with Todo and performs his curse technique on both Yuji and Nobara, and then presumably takes Nobara and leaves, right, to try to go get her help. Now, the way his curse technique works is that it doesn't heal you per se, it more so just prevents injuries you have from getting worse. So, I mean, that is something, right? But it's not as if it was Shoko down there dumping healing in immediately. So that's the status quo we're left with, and again, haven't heard anything in over 100 chapters at this point. Now, in an interview that came out a few years ago, Gege was asked about this situation, where the interviewer said, you know, you broke Yuji's heart too much, but Nita's technique stopped Nobara's condition, like it helped, right? And Gege responds that at the time of Nita's treatment, she was already dead, which obviously not a great sign, but does make sense given the injury that happened to her. And the interviewer follows up by saying, yeah, and there's no hospital in Shibuya after the incident, after what Sukuna did with his domain expansion. And Gege responds, right, there is no hospital. But Nita left early, so I guess he'll do his best, right? Now, obviously that interview kind of gives some mixed emotions, right? Because Gege more than once says she's gone, but then at the same time leaves the door open for hope, saying Nita will do his best. So that combined with the fact that it's just been radio silence on this for literally years makes me think she is coming back. Now, that's not to say that she's going to come back and literally like be the linchpin in the big plan, the big moment to save the day, although she might be. But yeah, just from like a writer, like a literary perspective here, it would absolutely make no sense for Gege to like leave this shrouded in mystery for years instead of just telling us that, yeah, Nobara passed away the day after the Shibuya incident, right? The fact that it's been stretched out this long is kind of like a Chekhov's gun, and so it would be so unsatisfying if we did just find out in the epilogue that she didn't pull through. It would be strange. However, there might be a reason that Gege would do that intentionally, and it cites back to something that he said, I think in like 2020, so 3 or 4 years ago at this point, about the ending of Jujutsu Kaisen. And he says that amongst Gojo and the first years, so Nobara, Megumi, and Yuji, either one of them will die or everyone will die except one. So who's to say if that's still Gege's plan for the ending? But if it was, then he might intentionally be keeping the fate of these characters a mystery for as long as possible so that people can't figure out which one of those scenarios it is. So for my money, I don't think we've seen the last of her, at least I hope not. Plus, her curse technique might prove vital in the fight against Sukuna, as we know that resonance can uniquely hit a target's soul, even if it's just attacking a piece of them. And we know that Sukuna's got those fingers out there. Finally, just want to give a special shout out to Timmy for the sponsored video today. Thank you so much, man.